sorry-ass DJ.
You can get some.
Metal detecting, simplified for newcomers. Exceptional stability in salt water. Waterproof up to 16 feet. Impressive depth and discrimination, similar to a high-end detector. All for an unbeatable price. Score, multi-frequency for all.
It's Thursday, it's 8 o'clock, and it's the Big Detector Show. Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year, Adrian.
Happy New Year, everyone. And Happy New Year to you, dear. And sorry we weren't on last week, but we had lots on. I did anyway.
Everything seemed to have gone, meh, and you were going to be left with just me. And I thought, well,
you could have done it.
Talk at the best of times as it is, but certainly without anybody else. So, yes, we cancelled more or less last minute, but we've got last week's guest on with us in the back room as we speak. And Adrian is here, and I'm here, and you're here, which is the most important thing.
Yes, thank you. And hopefully it's going to be a good 2024 with loads of good finds. More metal detectors, more pinpointers, all the gear, no idea. And the competition update on that, the winners came back to us, emailed us, and, well, we emailed them. They came back. Some people haven't come back. So if you haven't, your name is on the bigdetectingshowwebsite.com, bigdetectingshowwebsite.com, and there's a button to contact us. Don't try and pretend you're someone, because we've got the original email addresses and IP or whatever. But yes, so hopefully those who have started getting some of their gifts, I know the books are going out tomorrow, and we have one person who's got his routers, Gary, haven't we, Dave? He's very happy with it.
Pictures and thanked us and Tony and Routers for that.
Yes, thank you, Tony. TC to Tex. He's looking.
And I'll be honest, and you'll be honest. We've been that busy over Christmas, New Year, and you've been poorly. I've had loads of other things going on that personally I've not even got round to packing them up yet. But they will. You have my New Year, new me. So
Gareth. Yes. Well, hi, Gareth, and hello, everyone else, and Stephen Brame and Michael James Gardner. Gareth, did you get your small parcel from us? We sent you a little miniature gift thing for using your mum's loft for the show. Hopefully you did, because we'll find out. Anyway, Dave's got a monkey, and he sent me the picture.
It's Spank.
It's a what?
His name's Spank.
Oh, what? It's a little monkey you found, didn't you, when you went out detecting last week?
Spank the monkey, his name is.
Oh, gosh. How uncouth. Vulgar.
It's a little bronze statue. How cool is he?
Very, very nice.
That was find of the day. Me, Steve, and Sean. Shane went out on Sunday. That was find of the day until Steve got home and cleaned his bag out. You know your tots that you throw in the bottom of your bag? Yeah, he decided to clean it out when he got home. And got an ampulla out.
Oh.
So he got some of them.
My son found 1.5 hammers in my back garden the other day.
Joking. He
Not
dropped
metal detecting. I don't know where they come from. Well, I've obviously dropped them, but he went, Dad, found a hammer in the garden. And it was like 9 o'clock at night, and we'd been drinking. I said, "What are you doing?" And he went, "No, it was on the ground, on the path." So I don't know what happened, clearing out over Christmas. Oh, Gareth, yes, he has got it. Yeah, good. That's no worries. Oh, Gary Rayner's in the chat. And he's ordered his Rootless wireless headphones.
They've arrived today.
Yeah, I presume you've got those from Detecnics.
And you're more than welcome, Gareth. I've got absolutely no idea what was in said mystery box. It's that much of a mystery.
There were some good things in there. I don't think there's anything. There was a pair of socks, which was a bit random.
What the socks in?
The Vanquish socks. Mine had Vanquish socks.
Not just a pair that you took off and put in the box.
Not the ones I keep.
Or a pair of the housing managers or anything like that.
No, but if you think you won, but you're not sure, go to bigdetectingshow.com, and on there is a list of who won and those who haven't claimed their prizes. Those who didn't claim is probably because they've got Hotmail accounts and Yahoo, which put everything in the spam. So we've had trouble with that. Oh, Gary, yes, it was to Technics.
Gareth said you had art magazines in it.
Well, I sort of made them. I've drawn them.
Adrian,
Yes.
at the start of the show, what were you reading?
Well, it's going to get a bit geeky tonight, and I was actually reading about coils in this fantastic
What type
book.
of coils? Oh, metal detecting coils, right?
Yeah.
For that. I thought you were going down that route again.
If you want to understand how a metal detector really works, right, it's proper geek on. Most people find it really boring, but it's got loads of technical stuff, and you'd love it, Dave. But it gives you all the circuit boards.
We could just ask you.
Yeah, you could do, but it's like a bit old-fashioned. But it basically says how metal detectors are made. This book is very expensive, and I got it quite cheap. And I don't think they printed it anymore. But it's going to get a bit technical tonight, so I thought I'd sort of.
Before it gets technical, it's going to get archaeological.
Yes,
at the start of the show, I was reading Beneath Our Feet, which has been put together by Ken Cunliffe, and it's volume 2. All the money from volume 1 and 2 are going directly to charity. Ken on Facebook is the Detectorist, detectorist.com. People from all over the world. I'm in such esteemed company as Jason Jones, Lisa Jones, and Sid Perry. And then obviously I'm flicking. I haven't finished yet. The person on the page behind me is called. Oh, where's it gone? I had a little chuckle at his name because it was Ace. Where's it gone? Oh, there I am. So it was Dwight Colon. And then I opened it and I can't believe that I'm in a book with such, and I don't know, he's the pinnacle of the community. And to be alongside John Bradbury in a book like this is just, I've reached Havana. No, not Havana. Somewhere else. I've reached there. Just, anyway, moving on.
And sorry, Tony Kaywood said, what's the book called? It's called Metal Detector. Inside the Metal Detector.
It's called Inside the Metal Detector.
Yeah.
And Beneath Our Feet, volume 2. Anyway, let's bring on tonight's guest because we've got a lot to talk about. Glad to have him back on the show again because he does speak a lot of sense. I've had an article published on the magazine by him a while ago about treasure trove in Scotland that was very, very interesting read. Dwight Colon is a Nocta nomad.
Mr. Colon.
I won't go with that joke. I was about to do that because it's way before 9 o'clock. Boy's brother's called Semi. Hi, Tom. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you guys?
No, I'm all right. You all right, Tom?
Feeling a little bit giddy. It might be tired. I don't know.
I'm impressed that you've started the show with talking about spanking the monkey and colons already.
And semicolons.
Well, and semicolons.
Yes. I didn't think
But he's got a brother. He's got a semi.
So I think last time, Adrian, you were in some sort of Mediterranean island when we did this.
That was the show when you bombed in the pool at the end of the show, Adrian, that went viral.
In Cyprus.
That's the fella.
Close enough.
Yeah. Well, yes, it was last time you came. I saw you. Well, Rodney Cook, you came out with us, didn't you, in the buggy? And I got told off for taking half of the country with me. I had a bit of trouble reversing, didn't I, Tom? In that, yeah. And I took about 40 foot of shrubs with me. Did you hear about that, Dave?
No, I've just read what Gareth Howard wrote.
I reckon my mum must have had a coil fitted as well, Jim. I saw her trying to retrieve it with a pinpoint. God.
It's going to be one of them days. Sorry, Tom.
Oh dear. Yes, it was. It was a good show, and that's that last year. But I think I had internet problems. But Rodney Cook, you've just been on a hell of a journey, haven't you, Tom? I don't know if you want to tell us about that.
Yeah, I think by the time Steve and I arrived at Rodney Cook, I think we're on the sort of end of week 3 of being all over the place. So we'd headed south. I think we started at the Joan Allen event down in the Heart of Kent Rally. Again, another event. There's a big horde of Bronze Age axes came up there. And then we sort of bounced around. We went to Suffolk and we stayed in Suffolk for a while, went to a permission that we got there. And then we moved there again. And then we finished at Rodney Cook with you guys. So by the time we got there and you offered to drive us around in the buggy, I was more than happy with that because we were getting quite tired. But to be honest, at Rodney Cook, I spent most of my time in the bar than I did actually detecting.
Yes, and you did have a little sleep one afternoon, I remember.
All lies. I don't know who said that I disappeared in the afternoon and had a little snooze and then came back out. It's not true.
Yeah, I saw you come out of your tent. I think you were cleaning your pinpointer, so you were still doing detecting stuff.
Yeah, it was a pink tent, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it's a pinpointer I've never seen before. It was different tip on it and different handle, but we could talk about that. But you're here tonight to tell us about something you've unearthed, I understand.
Yeah. So for those that don't know, we're renovating, not this, although I've not finished this house yet, to be honest, but we're renovating another house in a place called Burghead, where there's a Pictish fort there. And it's one of the largest Pictish forts in Scotland. And there's been a huge amount of research done with it. And each year there's digs. Now, the little cottage isn't too far from there. And I'm taking it right back. So I've got it back to the bare walls, the floor's up, it's down to the earth. And so when I lifted the first of the floorboards, the first thing I saw was a fragment of what the Archies are saying is a Neolithic flint knife. Along with that was, as you see now, so many bones. It's a huge amount of animal bones, I must add, that have been butchered, along with a massive amount of seashells. So I started sending some pictures of what I was seeing to an archaeologist friend of mine, who then sent them off to Professor Gordon Noble, who heads up all these digs. He's been on Digging for Britain with Alice Roberts and written several books. So he was really interested because they don't often get the chance to dig outside of where the fort is. So they've been in and spent a bit of time excavating under the house. I think it's the first time they've actually done a dig inside a house, well, what's left of it. So yeah, it's been quite an interesting time.
Yes, quite a few artifacts there. What did they? How long were they at your house for?
We spent the day there. They're potentially coming back to do the garden at some point, and then they were going off to look at another house that was kind of in the same sort of state as mine. So they were trying to kill two birds with one stone. And what they're trying to work out is how far back the original ramparts of the fort, actually sort of extended into the town. Because back in the 1800s, when the town was originally built as we see it today, they flattened a lot of the ramparts to build the houses, and they didn't really care. And when they built the harbour, because it's like a finger of land that goes out into the sea, so it's three-sided by the sea. So they're interested to see what's going on. So yeah, there's a lot going on. It's ultimately going to be an Airbnb, and they were asking when it's going to be finished because they come back each August to do 2 or 3 weeks of dig. So I think they're actually hoping to rent it off me to stay there when they come back, which will be good. So
yeah. What's this we're looking at the minute, Tom?
Sorry,
what's this we're looking at the minute?
We're not sure. It looks like originally we thought it was a tooth, but it's a claw from something. So we're going to find out what it is. So you can see the length of it now. It's sort of 4 centimeters long, so it's not like a domestic cat or anything like that. So yeah, that was one of the finds. The photos that you've got are just a small selection of. There's bucketfuls of stuff come up from under the floors. So yeah.
And this is under the floors.
Yeah, I've got to put it all back together at some point.
So did you? What was the first thing that you found
was the little Neolithic fragment of Neolithic knife. Originally, I thought it was an arrowhead. That's a huge piece of bone that we think possibly has come from a whale.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was massive. That was actually in the garden, because the garden, when we cleared the garden, because you couldn't get into it, we spent like a weekend the place had been derelict for many years, getting access into the garden. That was one of the first things I found, along with lots of other bits of bone. So I was kind of itching to get under the floor of the house to see what was there. Didn't really think that we would find the amount of things that we have, to be honest. So it's been quite interesting. There's still more work to do there in terms of them seeing what's going on. A little bit of me was thinking, I hope they don't find anything too special. So there's the archaeologists in there doing their thing. I was a bit disappointed, though, because I know he's done TV work with Professor Alice Roberts, and I was kind of hoping that she'd come along, but no.
Bet your wife was pleased she didn't. Is your wife pleased now? Because it's delayed it a bit, I presume, isn't it?
To be honest, no. So most of the work to the house I'm doing myself, but on the outside, it's a sandstone building, so we've got stonemasons in doing some work. And there's builders at the moment in doing some work to sort of lintels and things like that. So it hasn't really held it up, because until they've sort of wrapped up and done their bit, I can't get in and carry on putting the inside back together, basically. So it's not really held us up at all.
To be fair, it's probably done you a favour on digging down like they're doing, so you can do anything that you might want to do in that area yourself. They've dug it up.
It did used to actually look like a normal house until I got my hands on it, but you could have lived in it, but it's going right back to the walls, as you can see, and then it's going to be properly.
That's an interesting feature, Tom.
Yeah, so that extended under that joist there, and we tracked it back, and originally we thought it was a grave, and as they dug down into it, it wasn't that deep. So the conclusion was that it was built. This house has gone through sort of 3 stages. It was originally a little single-story house, cottage. It was then, it fell into a state of disrepair. And this has come from the stonemasons as well, because these guys are some of the best in Scotland that are working on it. They work on all the castles and that sort of thing. It was then made into a 2-story house. But what they think is that was a hearth from one of the medieval houses. So where that house is used to be a medieval village. So they think potentially, because there was a lot of burning down there, that had been a hearth place from one of the medieval houses.
Wow.
And there is photos. We found several post holes as well. So there must have been some real earlier properties in there as well. So there's a big mishmash of dates in there that they're trying to work out. So from Neolithic right up to medieval, up to, there's some, no, that's the edge of the hearth that they thought was a grave. One of the photos you'll see, there's like one of several post holes that they found in there as well. So, yeah, it's a lot going on under the floor of that little place.
Isn't it? And is this just one room, or have you looked throughout and found similar?
No, every room. So it's not a huge place, but every room had bone. It had seashells, so almost like a midden, and some later sort of 11th, 12th century greenware pottery and things as well. And that's just a handful of the bucket full of it we pulled out. In there was a lot of more modern stuff. So there's like Georgian and Victorian, as you'd expect, sort of scraps in there as well. But I don't think I sent you the picture of the little freaky doll I found in there. So that's the part of the flint knife that was in there as well.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it's been interesting. We're on to some different things.
You found them under there?
Yeah, there was a Quest V80 and an X-Terror under the floor.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
We'll come back to that later, shall we?
When you say doll's freaky head, what?
No, a little doll. I thought I'd sent you a picture of it. I obviously haven't. It's on my social media. You'll see it. Some creepy little porcelain doll thing that was under there. I didn't know what it was, to be honest. Someone else said it's some form of Victorian doll that had no arms on it. It was a bit weird. So I wasn't sure whether I'd just put it back under the floor and leave it. But
yeah, I would. There's
a big collection of things come up, and when I was ripping back all the walls, behind the paneling was like what we think into the sandstone wall was an old meat locker. So ultimately, when the house goes back together, because it's going to be quite a modern finish, that's going to have double glazing and downlighters in it, and all the artifacts are going to stay inside with the original plaster behind it. So none of the coal will seep through because it'll be all double glazed. So you'll be able to see what the original wall looked like, along with all the artifacts from Neolithic through medieval. It'll be in the little museum display.
What a lovely Airbnb that'll be.
Yeah, it's in a stunning place. So for everything from, if you're into history, you're right by the fort. It's a hugely historic area anyway. You've got the sea, the forest, the mountains. It's pretty much everything. And then there it is. Freaky little thing.
Oh,
Isn't it?
Yeah.
It's very chubby. The face.
Sorry, I thought you were about me then, mate.
I can't remember what you said it was, but it's a type of doll. Apparently, they used to come in little coffins when the kids bought them.
Donna Martin said the frozen Charlotte.
That's it.
Oh, I've heard of those.
I heard the frozen shoulders.
Weird little thing. I'm happy finding bones. I don't want little creepy dolls under the floor.
Apparently, Adrian, you found a freaky doll in Spencer's field and started playing with it.
Yes. I think it was a couple of years ago. We were detecting, and there was a little bit of green waste, and there was a doll.
You keep covering your microphone, by the way.
Oh, sorry. There was. You hear me now? Yeah. There was a doll, and I think it obviously had some metal in it, and detector picked it up, and James says I was playing with it. It was only about that big. And do you know what's really weird, actually, about that doll? It was in Essex, in the countryside, in a very quiet little village. And this village has got a sign. I won't say the name of it because people probably go down there. It's got a sign that the villagers have actually made themselves, saying the name of the village. And it's been put up sort of quarter of a mile outside the village. So it's not a council sign. Someone's made it. And the next week we went there, someone had pulled the head off the doll, because I'd obviously left it in the field, and super glued it to the top of the sign. I've got a picture, it's on my Instagram. And James pulled that.
Covered your microphone.
I think there. I don't know what's going on there.
You keep going.
Oh dear. I'll put another one in. But yeah, someone had pulled the head off the doll and super glued it on the village sign. And then it was there for a few months and now it's gone. But yeah, a bit weird. Tom, did you run your pinpointer or anything over the ground?
Yeah, of course. So I had the pinpointer in there, and then I had the I think it was the Manticore, I can't remember which, but I ran that in there. But no, there's nothing metallic wise. There was nothing under there other than like bits of old pipe and rusty old nails, but nothing. I was sort of hoping that some coins or something might have fallen through the floor over the years, but no, not that I found. So yeah, that was one of the first things I did. And the garden. As soon as the garden was cleared, I went over the garden and had a quick look. So, but that'll get landscaped at some point. So once it's all scraped out, I'll go over it again and have a look.
You actually said to me, didn't you, that you actually can't do anything without finding history?
It just seems to be whatever I do, wherever I go, something. Yeah, I'm tripping over it. So it's not a bad thing. I'm quite happy with that. But yeah, it's. Even this house here, we've found a huge amount of stuff around the garden and things. It's quite a big garden. And one of the first things I did was metal detect that. And I've been over it with pretty much every machine I have, I think. So I'm always finding something. Actually, starting tomorrow, I'm just about to dig up the driveway and lay a new driveway. So as soon as that's graded back, I'll be going over that as well to see what's under there.
Cool, wow. Well, I found a medieval purse bar and a Bishopsgate London token, and some 303 cases in my front garden in lockdown. It's not a huge front garden. It's like, I don't know, 60 foot.
I found a dead pigeon.
You found a dead pigeon. Yeah. But yeah, I detected my back garden. I think I've got an Anderson shelter that's been buried because I've got a massive signal. But I've weirdly got massive EMI since the summer this year, so I think something's been put up around me,
or something.
Yeah, it's obviously with like the dais and the Manticore, you can cancel it out, but it's still there. And I've got the Rutus Versa, and that shows you the EMI, and it is. I've had that for a year, and that was like that, and now it was sort of like that, the graph, and now it's like that, and I don't like it. You hear of all these things about electromagnetic fields and things, but yeah, it's crazy around here now. I used to be able to go in the front garden and play with my detector in the summer. Just you get a new one, you play with the programs, because indoors it's noisy, and now it's as bad indoors as it is outside. So yeah, a bit dodgy, really.
I'm not
sorry, Dave.
That's okay. I was listening. I was thinking, because we went out to the weekend, and first site we went on next to a church was fine, quieter than I expected, but it was moist as well, wasn't it? So we didn't last too long. But the second site we went on a friend's farm, all three of us we gave up after a while. Shane and Steve were using the Deus 2, and I had the Nox 800, and the chirping and what have you that was going on was stupid. All three of us were having EMI issues all the way. So we ended up going to another place in Tara where the grass was a bit long, but we were still finding stuff.
Was that on multi-frequency and single frequency?
Yes. And I was going through all the frequencies just to try it, and it was still there. Because I actually asked him when I got to when I seen him later on, what is electricity bills are like? Are they overly high? And he said no. Why? I said, because to me, you're leaching electricity somewhere. Look at me now in the correct terms.
Well, it could be
that's it. My technical chat tonight, by the way.
Yeah, I don't often have a problem. You've got the overhead electric and electric fences, but built up areas, I don't know. Everything's like 5G now, isn't it? That is a bit of it, and broadband.
With the 900 and the Manticore seems to be a lot more settled around EMI than the 800 is. The EMI will be the 800 will be chirping and popping away, whereas the Manticore and the 900 seem a bit more sort of settled in the same areas, which is handy. But to be honest, up here where I do the majority of digging, it's not too bad for that.
No.
So
no.
I just realised, Tom, I saw you another time last year. I'm in the middle of a field up in the Lake District, up in the hills, and you appeared in front of me in your car. I'm like, that's Tom.
Yeah, so I can't remember where I'd been.
You were on your way back from family down south. And you were back on your way to Scotland.
I'd been down in Sedberg, not far from where you were, and Steve and Raymond and a few of the guys from my group were down there. So I swung in by. I think I was asking you if you knew where they were. Actually, I'd seen them because I was trying to get up and do a bit of digging there, because I think it's one of James's digs, wasn't it?
That's right.
Yeah.
But
I didn't have time. But then later that year, when we were down in Cumbria, because I got quite a few permissions in Cumbria, James came up and spent the day with us digging. So I think it was nice for him, because he's always trying to organise events and lay land on for other people. So we gave him a shout to come up. I didn't find much that day, but he got a beautiful Roman fibula up that day as well. So yeah,
Roman fibula, Adrian. Now, you had a bit more news end of last year to share as well. You're sporting the T-shirt as well. So, where are we with Steve with Detector Wear UK now? So,
yeah, it's coming on quite a bit. Like we said, it was going to happen. It's growing. There's new machines now. There's I'm not sure if it's been picked up yet. There's an embroidery machine coming as well now, opposed to just the printing. And then, because I'm sort of bouncing between two phases, two properties, extending and doing things. Once the new sort of building's in, then it's going to move into there, and it'll be a much bigger space. And with that bigger space means we can do more and produce more at a better rate, and it'll be a bit easier going as well. So Steve's a sort of whiz kid that does all the art side of it and the actual design and things. So he's always got great ideas. So yeah, there's a lot happening. I think there's going to be some other brands and types of things coming out from it quite soon as well. So yeah, it's ever evolving, and it's something that just seems to be growing. That people are always after things, and there's a lot of new, different style of merchandise coming out. There's going to be a lot of laser cut stuff and things, and yeah, watch this space. There's going to be quite a bit. I haven't done a huge amount of media about it yet, purely because we're both a bit detached at the moment. So we're not in the same place, and two, I've just been so busy sort of doing everything else. So this year, there's going to be a lot more coming, and there's going to be sort of weekly updates on what we're up to, and people can sort of follow along on Instagram and that sort of thing. So yeah, it's going to be a lot more to come from Detecting.
Certainly look forward to it, because we've supported Steve from the first day. I think it was Tony Kaywood who actually introduced us to Steve, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
We've been a big supporter and advocate of himself and all the things that he does and the way. I mean, I've messaged him and said, any chance you could knock me up this T-shirt several occasions, and he's designed artwork for one-offs for me for people for Christmas. So I can't speak highly enough of the quality either.
Yeah, and I think that's what. So the bigger companies that you can find online that do a similar sort of thing, there's often a minimum order with them. Whereas Detecting UK will do like individual items or into the sort of container load. It just depends on what the requirements are. So we're speaking at the moment actually with two of the big main manufacturers of metal detectors who are quite interested in buying their sort of UK merchandise from us as well. So there's quite a bit going on.
Dr. Otech and C-Scope. Yeah,
that's it.
Those who don't know, the web address is for Detecting where, Tom? Do you know it?
You put me on the spot. Not off the top of my head.
Just Google Detecting.
Just put in Detecting My UK and it'll come to the top of the Google search. Or you can get it on Facebook, or you can get it on Instagram. All of them will link you back to the shop.
There's some really cool stuff on there, and years ago I brought some T-shirts on there because I'm not a Nike or Adidas person. I'd rather wear sort of Danebury Metal Detecting Club T-shirt, which I think I did.
We've even got Steve. I think we were actually one of the initial things on there. There was about two other people before ourselves, MD Mag and Big Detecting Show, but from day one he's had that on there, and I've no idea how it gets on if he sells anything, because my agreement was, do us a favour, mate, put that on, and he did. And
so there's a few people doing
any money out of it.
For those that we're talking about, so basically you can have your merchandise on the Detecting My UK shop at no charge, and basically what happens is they buy from us, as opposed to then if you owned a club, you're having to buy in a load of merch and potentially not sell it. So you can sell your merch via the shop, and it seems quite popular as well. A lot of people doing it. So and the website's going to change. It's in the process of changing at the moment as well. It's getting a bit of a revamp and modernized a little bit. So there's just so much work to do with it. It's kind of an evolving project that just sort of keeps growing, and you find what works and what doesn't, and just keep sort of pushing on with it. So.
Plus converting two houses, digging up your driveway, and metal detecting. Sorry, we've got some questions in the chat, Dave. Donna Martin, where is the like button on live? She's on her phone.
On live on Facebook or YouTube?
She's on YouTube.
Absolutely no idea. Don't know how to use it.
It's just a little thumb, isn't it?
Yeah,
no idea how to use it.
Rob Random, hello Rob, hope you're okay, mate. Thank you. He's wished us a happy new year. Digger Dawn, where's some nice gear, Donna? Jim, you pervert. I know what he's looking at.
That Jim painting.
Having to listen on silent, captions are good fun. Day as two manticourse. No worries. Yeah, it's a great selling model. Hi, Derek. Rather than clubs holding stock, yeah, it is. It's no
It is,
minimum
especially
order.
when you go and get like 500 Danebury metal detecting fleeces printed. You can't
Yeah.
sell them.
And the thing is,
I'd tell-
a lot of the clubs are sort of non-for-profit and can't really afford to have an outlay for lots of items. But the way we do it is you can have them sat there, and you can have your brand go out there, and people can wear their merch if you want them to, but they don't have the initial outlay. So it seems to be popular. It's working.
I think also getting an embroidery machine is key, because we all know embroidery products, they're not cheap, but they last ages, absolute ages. So I think that'll be really, really good. I personally want to get a picture of Dave eating cake, metal detecting on a t-shirt embroidered, so I can wear it for the rest of my life. I might even wear it in bed, actually.
I don't think the housing manager would be best pleased with that, wearing a jacket in bed. Not the me bit, just the jacket.
No, probably not.
Maybe you could put it over the arm of the chair in your bedroom, sort of facing you.
Have you, actually, funny question, Tom, have you got a chair in your bedroom that has clothes on it?
No, but there is like a set of cubes thing that's got like towels and blankets and that in it, and that's normally always got my clothes dumped on top of it. Not like folds or anything, chucked on it.
Dave, do you have a chair with clothes on?
I've got a floor.
I think it's an English thing. We all have chairs in bedrooms with or Dave has a chaise lounge, don't you? You've got a chaise lounge.
I've got a floor.
Keith Ellis. Hi, Keith. Keith won a prize, didn't he? He won a prize.
If you was asked to house sit for a friend with amazing history, would you be tempted to have a cheeky detect? Of course, I wouldn't. I don't think anybody would trust us to house sit, to be honest, would they?
I've actually...
Or Airbnb.
I don't know if I should say... Well, I've actually... talking to someone at the moment whose friend owns a house that has got a lot of secret history, and I can't go any more detail on that. It's quite interesting. Something was set up there about 100 years ago, and no, not 100 years ago, around sort of Second World War time.
Like a scale strip or something.
No, and I'm looking forward to going there. I've got a new permission.
We're talking SOE type stuff, or
yeah.
Talking what? SOE pipe.
Don't tell him. Google it, Dave. Google it. Sausages and eggs. It's like a secret thing. The chair is up there in the rankings alongside the redundant exercise bike wardrobe. Yeah.
Exercise bikes make a good clove horse.
Oh, Nick West's got a sofa in his bedroom. Well, all right, if you can do it.
Right, I'm Googling sausage and eggs, and I've got lots of pictures of sausages and eggs. Now I actually want sausages and scrambled eggs.
Yeah, but you were in the army, Dave, weren't you? You should know. Oh, no, it's Salvation.
Yeah, no, I was in the army. I was in the Congo.
Salvation Boys Brigade.
I used to drink umbongo a lot. That's where I got the... when I keep having that tropical disease keeps coming back. That's where I got the recurring thing from the Congo.
Umbongo. Derek Gibbons' uncle was SOE. Wow, interesting.
Oh, wow.
Robert MacGyver.
We're going to say Robert Mugabe then.
My mum and dad live on an old farmhouse. They went away for a few days first. I think I was taken by a detector. Donna Martin's got a clothes chair. Stephen Law's got a wardrobe. Sorry, it's completely going. Oh, John,
we always do.
Hi, John.
We always go off
Hi, John. Yes, talking about chairs in bedrooms. I don't know how my brain works. Anyway, time's getting on. Tom, just going back to your house. How much more is going to be sort of researched for bits and bobs until you finally say I'm carrying on, putting the floor down?
So the inside is going to carry. We're going to continue rebuilding it and everything. And I've said to the Archies that the garden's going to be free really till the end of spring, realistically, before we come in and start landscaping it. So they've got that chunk of time to come back and do whatever it is that they need to do. So I'm keen to, one, find out what's going on, and two, equally, if it helps them work out any more info related to the Pictish fort, then fantastic. Yeah, I'm more than happy for them to come in and dig around, as long as it's not that important that it stops progress with work. Yeah, so I'm not sure really where they're going to go with it, but I know they were keen on coming back and digging the garden. So,
and will you be videoing it on your YouTube channel?
I probably will do. So the YouTube side of things, I've not done a huge amount recently. I did one about, I think, a couple of months ago about detector settings. But there's going to be more of that sort of stuff coming out, because the podcast, with the sort of demise of Joan Allen, has changed into the Hidden History Show. So Chris and I are still going to move on with that. It's going to have a slightly different theme. It's still going to be detecting based, but we're going to be looking at significant finds and that sort of thing, and that's where that'll be going, with some interesting guests coming on. So yeah, there's going to be more media, and hopefully do some media about whatever comes of that. And they'll definitely do some when it's finished and all the Archies are there doing the dig up at the fort again. We'll do some media up at the fort, and then we'll obviously have them back at the house when they're all full of beer and tell us the things that they're not supposed to tell us. So that's the plan anyway.
Those who want to subscribe to Tom's YouTube channel here,
should we rub it a bit and make it big, Adrian?
If you can't scan it on your phone, or you're watching on your phone, because a lot of people who watch the show watch it on their phone, Google or go to YouTube and type Hidden History Hunters Detecting Scotland, and you'll see Tom on there, and subscribe. And he's got some great articles on there and reviews of metal detectors, which is something we must talk about tonight, Dave, or metal detector. He loves all this.
He's already gone to sleep.
Dave was interested first on the amount of current drawn in field mode. No, I was joking.
I'm already subscribed.
I am. I have been for a while with Tom. Tom, how long ago was it you went away with Joan Allen to the show and got the V80 prototype? Well, it was a beta test.
So we've done a few trips over to Germany. That one was EWA, which is the big international event. So we were guests of MindLab for that one. I think it was either the end of February or early March last year. Yeah, it was. I think it was early March. Because that wasn't the one where we got lost in Germany, and that was a whole different video. So MindLab invited us over, but whilst we were there, we spent time with Dilek over at Nocta, and then obviously Quest at the time, to go and look at the V80, because the V80 was talked about back in 2022 at the end of it, I think. So they'd done some testing with the V80. Yeah, so that was, I think, the first Xterra back into the UK that I brought back. So that's Carsten he's like the PR guy from Quest, showing me the V80, and wanted me to take one back and just have a go with it and see what I think. From that, I then sort of got roped into the testing program with them and going through various things with it for most of the year. It's just past, actually. So most of 2023 we were working on it, up until sort of late October, where I kind of left them to it with it. So
yeah, and
very fresh faced and young on them pitches, Tom.
I've aged a bit since then, haven't I? It's only not even a year ago.
It's and we've obviously the V60 and the V80. They're interested. There was a bit of an issue with sort of legality issues, I think, patents and things initially, wasn't there?
It was bandied about, but not really, because that patent for the multi-frequency side of things, I think that's where you're going with that, had expired quite some time ago. So that's why everyone else, all the manufacturers, got on the bandwagon with the multi-frequency stuff, and they just had to call it their own thing. So Quest have called it Hyper-Q, and then you've got Nocta doing it, and everyone else, and Garrett and people doing it. So, but yeah, I was because my thoughts on the Q30 when that came out, you and I were testing them at the same time. I loved it. And Chris
Still
Woods
got
and
it.
yeah, and Chris and I sort of championed it a bit, and we did a lot of videos about them. And because a lot of people at that time weren't really aware about Quest, and they might have remembered them as Detectnics and not Detectnics, but Detectnics. So we sort of pushed them forward, and I didn't know what to expect. I really liked it, and then went through all the models with Quest and Q60 and all the X ranges, and so I got given the V80 to try and to test. And yeah, that's what I've been doing most of this year, along with other manufacturers, but working on that a bit with them up until sort of October, where I stepped away and left them to it.
Yeah, it's a funny machine, Quest. They're so well built. They really are. The shaft, the Q30, I lent it to Dave and his son, but I think, Dave, you struggled with it a bit, didn't you? Yeah, he found it a bit too complicated, but I think it's really easy to use. But Dave,
it was making the wrong noises. It was squelching and not beeping.
I haven't told you, actually. There is a problem with it. There's a problem with the coil. Sorry, I didn't tell you.
Send you back.
Yeah. So that machine I've lent to quite a few people. So it's been knocked around, and it's a couple of years old now. And I think it might have just knocked itself silly or something, but it's the coil. There's a problem with the coil. So not a big thing, but it has been proper put through its paces. But I just love the simplicity of it, and there's certain things like the shield cover that goes over the screen to protect it and keep the sun off. That they do have an app that goes with it, where you can track your finds and post them on their forum. It's a bit clunky, but it's got potential. But there's so many underdogs in the detecting world that don't get sort of enough respect because they can't market themselves so heavily. And I think Quest are one of them. And I think the work you and Chris did, they must have sold quite a few models.
Yeah, but, I mean, we were moving a lot of Quest at the time through Joan Allen and things, off the back of what Chris and I were saying about it, because I think people expect us to pull it apart and go, this is awful. And actually, we were both, like you were, really surprised going, the Q30 is a really punchy, for the price as well, great little machine. Not so much with the V80, unfortunately. Right from the get-go with it, we've been sort of pedaling uphill with it. And I think I was brought in a bit late with it. Their testers, not all, but some of their testers that they had were more interested in sort of YouTube clicks and that sort of thing, and not really the finer art of testing. So they weren't going back to Quest and telling them what the problems were. And we found problems in the hotel that night as soon as we took it out of the box. And I was looking forward to it being good, because however you look at it, it's an ugly looking machine. And I was hoping it was going to be fantastic. And it had promise, but there was lots of things needed changing with it, a huge amount of things needed changing with it. And it was hard work going back and forth with the engineers. It was like daily we were on chat and FaceTime, this sort of thing. And I was like the only one, like the black sheep of all testers, going, no, you need to do this, and that. Some things it did fix, some things it didn't. And toward the end, I sort of got frustrated with Quest, and it was a bit of a sour experience with them, because I from what I'd known of Quest and how good they were, and like their pinpoint is still to this day the best pinpointer out there, I think. Anyway, I'm not tried the new Nox one, so I don't know. So I kind of gave up with them in the end and sort of held my hands up and said, "You're on your own. I'm not really doing any more with you." But yeah, I don't know if you remember, Adrian. You might remember the G80, the gold hunting machine that they were going to release 2 or 3 years ago that never came out.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, remember that.
What about that? Yeah.
So if you look at the G80 control box, apart from the big sticky out bit where the battery housing was, and look at the V80 control box, you might see some similarities between the two.
I find the V80 screen very intriguing. I haven't seen one in the flesh. The rendered images, have you got one there? Yeah. So if you turn it on, sorry, there'll be a load
Does it fold down nice, that?
It does. It's probably the coil actually folds sideways as well. So the screen, so the resolution, the style of the screen is probably one of the clearest ones.
Just rub it and make it big.
Especially on a sunny day. It's a really easy screen to see. But one of the biggest things I said to them, because it's such a small screen, is there's too much going on in a small screen, and we need to sort of minimize that. And one of the recommendations that I said was, let's have a detecting page. So when you're detecting, let's drop away most of the information and just have 2 or 3 of the important things on there that you can see. Didn't happen. What would have been nice was for them to put this inside the Q30, Q35 housing, which works, and the shaft's great, and it looks, I think, quite nice. Whereas this thing looks a bit... Do you remember the sort of 1980s Speak and Spell?
Yes. Yeah.
That's first impressions with it. But the biggest issue I had with it, and they did do some work toward fixing it, was tones. The tones are awful, and I mean really awful. And we went through quite a few iterations of trying to sort them out, and they got better. I think by the end of it, I just got a bit fed up with it, and I was just, because it wasn't moving like I'm used to with the other people I've worked with, other manufacturers. So I kind of, in the end, walked away and said, great, just you're on your own. I'll leave you to your testers. I think I upset some of the testers as well by saying that it's not about what you're finding. We need to be testing this, and that. Because at one point, we were all on different programs on it. So the latest update, I might have had 16.2, someone else was on 15.1, and it just, there was no cohesion. So I wrote a test profile for them and said, this is what we're all doing. So each day we've got to test and then we would send it back. And then it started to come together, and lots of things did happen with it. There was a couple other issues with it, but this is a pre-production one. So I'm not going to talk about those because they did iron those out in their defense. But just following the people who are using it at the moment, there's not a huge amount of praise going for it. One of the things that they pointed out is that the guys that are using it now is it's suffering from EMI a lot and being a bit unusable.
Tony K was actually said exactly the same in the chat a bit earlier on. He's got a lot of EMI issues, especially with bigger coils.
So I didn't have any of that, but in their defense, I've not used it for the last 3 or 4 months, and there has been software updates since then. So I'm still running one of the test software updates on it. So I probably need to put the latest one on and go and see what's going on with it. But that was one of the things it was quite stable. But their direct comparison with it was they were aiming it at as a competitor being the Nocta Legend. And I did some videos for them and I was comparing them side by side. And in my opinion, they're not even in the same ballpark. The Nocta Legend price for performance is probably one of the best detectors out there, I'd say, in its price.
Value for money, yeah.
So it was a bit of a disappointment to me. It was hence why I didn't do any media on it. I couldn't at one point because I was doing all the testing and things. So I just thought I'll just stick it in the corner and walk away and not really talk much about it. It's not terrible. It's just not what I thought it would be. And it's sort of sitting in that price range where it needs to be quite good.
How much is it currently?
I think their bundle package, it's up at like $749. Yeah. So that comes with the Quest wire-free headphones and the big headphones. I love those headphones. They're great. I used to use them back when they were Technics. I've probably got about 6 sets of them now, and they're fantastic. Initially, they weren't sure what they were going to use. They were going to use those sort of bone transmitting ones, but they had lag. We didn't use those. So it comes with 2 coils, the Blizzard coil that's on it, and then there's one slightly narrower one that comes with it. And there is other options for the coils now. Weight-wise, it's almost exactly the same weight as a Legend. It's really well balanced, and the shaft's fantastic on it. It's a round shaft. When you extend it, you won't be able to see it on here, but there's a sort of groove that runs down the shaft, so it doesn't swivel and pivot. And
it's all right, you're talking about shaft. Do you know what? Yeah. You've just said that. I do not understand why on the Manticore they haven't put a groove in their shaft.
No, it's just... So this
that drives me up the wall on the Manticore. My shaft spinning.
It frustrates them because you're there and you're trying to line it up when you get in the field. So this is exactly the same setup that was on the G80. The only thing that's changed is this doesn't have the sticky out bit now and the sort of support. And then it's just got a cam on it, but I can't use the cam because they're made of sort of chocolate box plastic, and this one broke within about 5 seconds of getting it. So hopefully
So
that's
Tony Kaywood said if you use the code TC10 at Spin a Disc, you'll get 10% off the well, anything I presume, but the Quest V80.
So I think I spoke in length to them about it, and we went back and forth many times. I think what they probably should have done is just put more time into the Q30 and the Q35, and the X range, which were fantastic selling machines. This just seemed to me, and the time frame, a bit rushed. And I get they're a business and they're trying to get it out, but there are accessories that they do, so that pinpointers and all the other bits. I love their stuff. The new, I use this day and day out. I've got a few of these now.
Is that the one I've got, Adrian?
Yes.
The only difference with this one is it might be the one you've got, the magic holster one. So when you pull it out of the holster, it turns on. When you put it back in, it turns itself off.
No, I never got that.
But it's the same as the Max before. It just turns itself on and off with the holsters. But I've tested pretty much almost every pinpointer, apart from the new Nocta one, which I hear lots of good things about. That's definitely my favourite one, without a doubt.
I've got to say, I thought that was a bag of crap. Even me 10-year-old son won't use it.
The Nocta
the Nocta is, wow, that's blown me away.
I think I've read a few people who've had the one you had, Dave, and there has been some quality issues after 6 months, 10 months. I've heard. But I was, when they streamed that live, Quest, that new pinpointer, not the one you've got, the one before the holster. And I think I was the first person to watch it on YouTube because I was at home and it just popped up. And I looked at it, I thought, oh my God, that looks fantastic. I'm going to buy one.
Yeah.
And I didn't get one. And then I wanted to get one. Then he got given one free.
Yeah.
And
Joe Allen gave me one for review purposes. And, initially Shane took it away. It was great, but it just false signals going off on its own. You couldn't do what you want with it. Just in the back of the van for just in case purposes now.
I think it. No, it wasn't the Max.
It's the one with the iron signal, the green yes and the red no.
This was the same, but the one before it did as well. Yeah. That's a shame because normally, and I know when Detecnics, like the prior to Quest, their pinpointers and stuff are great as well.
The Detecnics one, I had one of there, and that was fabulous. It was. From it just ended up dying on me, but that was absolutely fantastic. And now that AccuPoint from the Nocta Macro is just. 3 of us had one in the field at the weekend. Shane's got the beta version.
Yeah.
Me and Steve got the alpha version. When I had the beta version, I was struggling to turn it off, wasn't I, Adrian? It's so simple to use and it's so powerful. And as Adrian said, you have to turn the bloody thing down because the what's it called? Not discrimination. Sensitivity down because it's just too darn sensitive.
Yeah, I'd say I'd say it's. I think I wrote. Yeah, I did. I wrote a review for Treasure Hunting magazine on it. And with multi-frequency machines now, you're picking up so many small things, and like half of a 177 pellet that's been split because it's here, and you want to know what it is. You dig it out the clod, and you break it up, and you run your machine over it, and you go, yeah, it's in there, but you can't physically see it because it's covered in soot. And you get your pinpointer out, and the lower end pinpointers struggle to find it, but the Nocta one, AccuPoint, it literally the sensitivity is crazy on it. It is a great pinpointer, but I must say I also like the XP MI6, which also Bluetooth to your headphones. I think the Bluetooth link to your headphones, especially like if you're detecting and it's like 2 degrees, and you've got a nice pair of headphones keeping your ears warm. Really, really good. But the Quest, as long as you don't buy a cheap one off Amazon, they're all pretty much, you've got your Garretts and stuff. And I know, sorry.
the ones that are not Bluetooth to the headphone, the key thing for me, and I think probably a lot of other people, I'm pretty much deaf, and definitely if you've got your headphones on a windy day, they need to be loud enough. And the benchmark I used to test them all against was the MI4 because I thought that was a great pinpointer.
Yeah.
I've gone through a couple of them, but they just weren't, for me, they weren't loud enough. So when I got the X-Pointer Max, the original one, the non-Magic Holster one, loved it. It was really, really loud. You could hear it in the next field. With the discrimination on it and the LED for the discrimination as well. Loved that. So every other one since I've sort of compared when I've tested it against the X-Pointer Max. I spent a bit of time with the Fisher F-Pulse as well. Didn't really like that too much. But recently I've been using the Profine 40, the Mindlab one. That's almost too sensitive to a point you're sort of knocking it back all the time because it gets a bit chirpy, but both really good pinpointers. So I think for me, no one's sent me the AccuPoint yet, so I've not tried it. I'll probably have to buy one. But for me, the top two at the moment is the Quest X Pointer and the ML40, I think.
Talking of things that don't work, Mindlab Equinox headphones. Bag of shit. I've used them about 5 times and the button just won't work anymore to turn them on. So I've got the sender unit instead.
There's an issue with those like the 105s and not the 105s, the ML80s and the 85s, where you push we used to get loads of repairs in for them. So you push the button. There wasn't a huge amount of support in the button at the rear, so the button ended up sort of pushing inside the casing of the headphone. My 800, I've already got problems with the power button on those.
Yeah,
so, it's not.
I've just thrown out. I can't use them now. I'll try taking them apart and ruin them, but as I say, I used the sender unit with my old Garrett headphones, and I was happy as Larry with them.
I think you're one of quite a few having that issue with them. I know they did go on to change later models; they sort of reinforced it a little bit, but bizarrely enough, my 800 is doing the same. My 900, I'm really struggling to get it on and off. The 105s have been fine apart from the wind noise. They've been spot on with the Manticore, but all of them. None of them compared to the Quest wire-free ones, the Pros, I think. But these ones, I just think they're comfortable, they're fantastic. I wish I could hook these up to the Mindlab stuff because they're some of the best headphones out there, I think. And there'll be people going, oh, no, they're not, they're awful, but I think they're fantastic.
I've got a set that Sid Perry recommended and my mate brought, and he passed on to me.
Are they converted Quest ones?
No. These are
because you can convert
August headphones, Bluetooth ones, and you can see a lot more rugged, better buttons and what have you. And Sid Perry, because obviously, what's the word? The speed when you use them and it picks it up a bit late on some.
Low latency.
These ones are more or less bang on. So I've used them with the Mindlab Vanquish 540 and they would bob on with that. So the next time I'm out, I'm going to hook them up to see if they work with the Nox 800. But Sid Perry was a huge advocate of them. Look at me joining in Tech Talk.
The Rutus Versa uses the same headphones as the Nox 600 and 800, but Rutus actually have redone the circuitry and improved the speeds and it syncs, and they're lovely to use. And I think it's just such a shame that with a detector, sometimes the headphones for some manufacturers are a bit of an afterthought.
Yeah.
And I think Quest properly, apart from their real value ones, which are like a pair of Sony ones from the 80s with foam on, they really have thought about, because you don't see those headphones anywhere. I don't know if they've made them bespoke for that machine, but
it's not like a rebranded thing at all, is it? It's,
no.
I'd need to speak to them about that. It could be something that they've made themselves, but the Legend headphones as well. So I've had that Legend from one of the first ones when they came out. I've had no issues with those at all.
No, they're really good. Yeah, Legend headphones are nice. Yeah.
Talking about Legend, I had just before I came on here tonight, I had a message from a guy, you probably never heard of him, but Fodder Phil.
Yeah.
Oh
So,
yeah, he's
weird
he-
lad who he sits with little dummies in bed.
He does.
yeah, he's got a mannequin.
So he said, "Give me a mention." So I said I would, but he was up here not too long ago. Actually, he came up. He was working up this way, so he came out and did a bit of detecting with Steve and I, with said Larry, the mannequin. Yeah. So hello, Fods.
Yes, hello, Fod. I hope you're well, mate. Happy New Year, and we'll catch up soon. But yeah, legend. I like that. I like
See,
That's where I rolled that in
about
there.
them August headphones, and I've put a link. It's an eBay link to the exact model that I've got. But inadvertently, while I was looking for that, Adrian, August do a bone conduction Bluetooth headphone that's only £40, and I'm just wondering how they would work. If the August other ones work okay, what would the bone? Because how much would a pair of bone conductors be for the Nocta?
Well, the Deus 2 bone conductive ones are lovely when it's hot and you're detecting like in the summer. And then I love the over-ear headphones with the Deus 1 and Deus 2. To me, it's just right because I can talk to someone, I can hear what's going on around me. So if any women are like coming up behind me, are going to pounce on me, which quite often happens, I can hear them coming. But literally. But yeah, I think Quest headphones really, really good. And oh yeah, idiot.
Oh, you are awful. But
I am.
You.
But I'm glad Tom said that about Quest headphones because they're my favourite ones out of all the headphones I've worn.
So, I don't know if you probably had them. You remember the ones when it was Detecnics before it was Quest that you could put the DS1 puck into?
Well, yes, I've seen people doing that. No, I didn't have them, but I don't think I had them.
That was how I sort of found out about them, and I was just like, "These are amazing," and they were fantastic. But I do like headphones that block out the ambient noise as well, because I often detect with Steve and Raymond, and it's nice not to be able to hear them arguing like a married couple.
Do you know what? Their bromance is something else. Absolutely brilliant.
When we go away,
looking broke Raymond, isn't it?
When we go off, Raymond, so he gets so much grief from us.
Yeah.
But yeah, he doesn't really have a big social media platform. But everywhere we go now, when people speak to me, they say, "Where's Raymond?" Because I think Steve and I, just through all our sort of videos of him and banter and stuff, everyone sort of wants to know where Raymond is now. And when we went to RCM, everyone was chatting to him, and it was brilliant. But he's just got back from holiday actually, so I haven't seen him. But he's a great character. But those two, when they've had a beer or two and we're sat in the tents at night, it's like watching a married couple argue with each other. So
yeah, I must admit when I drove you around in the Gator at Rodney Kirk, you and Steve were just ribbing into him and then swearing at him to hurry up. And it was quite funny.
I love all the new T-shirt ranges that Steve created for him. He's one yesterday. I absolutely want one.
Loads.
Metal detecting with a W and an anchor.
The day we left a day early, I think, and Raymond was still there detecting. And he phoned us as we were driving back up to Scotland. He says, "Oh, I've had to get the bus." He says, "No one took me up in the buggy because we'd gone. He had to get the bus with the rest of them." He was a bit put out, bless him, but he was fine.
Family.
Steve Barnett said his headphone gripe is not having a charge percentage indicator. And it's true. It's true.
It is, but if you use your machine enough, you sort of, I know, you learn how long they last. And as long as you're not jumping from 4 hertz to sort of...
Well, you know how long I've had that of the Knox? Well over a year now. And I've not actually charged the sender thing. I've not charged that at all yet.
Yeah.
I might have to get out the van and charge it.
The thing, at least with the Manticore, that you know without a shadow of a doubt that the headphones are going to outlast the Manticore. So there's no worry there. But the X pointer and the MI4 and 6 the same. It's like I seem to charge it about 4 times a year. That's about it. They last so long.
We've not charged the first AccuPoint, and Shane goes out twice a week normally. We've not charged that yet, the first one.
Yeah. I think not to overspec the battery in the AccuPoint, because the first AccuPoint I got, I charged when I got it
Yeah.
and I still haven't charged it. And I used it for about 50 hours and detecting, not physically pinpointing for 50 hours, because that'd be quite sad. And then I gave it to my son, who uses it, and he's lazy, so he probably hasn't charged it yet. And that was working the other week. I mean, it is crazy. Actually, I think they said 30 hours. No, 25 hours, Dave, on the Acupoint, I think, which is a long time.
A lot.
Pinpoint. Yeah.
I'll have to get one. I need to try this out because I've not heard a bad word about it. So.
No, I think there's little things like, you know, where you unscrew the cap to take your batteries out or charge it. The downside of most pinpointers is it's hard to thread it on and it gets muddy and that. Yeah. The Acupoint, it literally just goes like that. It's a really plus.
Found it. Done a little Trump on a bent over then, sorry. Live on air. Anyway, moving on.
There we are. So I seem to always lower the tone when I come on this show, don't I?
No, we do that ourselves, Tom. You're actually sending it to a higher tone.
I'm not
Dave,
sure.
what did you have for
Unfortunately,
tea?
I exist.
What did you have for tea?
Well, I don't like pizza.
No, I don't.
like garlic bread with cheese. So I had garlic bread with cheese with pizza toppings, but none of that tomato sauce claptrappery. Try it, man. It's future. So it was a pizza, but it was a garlic bread with cheese because I don't have the pizza sauce. I have the garlic sauce instead.
So it was a pizza without the tomato sauce?
Yeah, but with garlic sauce instead.
Yeah.
Garlic bread.
Yeah.
Meat feast, but garlic bread base. The battery, it says.
Sorry. Someone put in the chat 25 hours. Dirt Diggers UK. Hiya. There's quite a few people in the chat. We should say hello. Hi, Nick Berry. Nick, I messaged you Happy New Year after you messaged me over a week ago.
Have we had any messages off Donna Martin lately?
Yes, there was one, but I forgot to send it to you.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Dave, you having flatulence problems is totally.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Philip Wills, Adrian, did you see that I received the pinpointer? Thanks. Yes, he's got the Profine 40 that he won at Christmas. Fantastic. And we've just got the Garrett 400i. The Verse has been delivered. So, yeah. Kevin Allen, Acupoint. Yeah, the Acupoint. And what I like as well, sorry, you get a spare tip and you also get a spare rubber seal and you get a lanyard and your sheath and something else. But it all works. It's all tickety-boo. Very good bit of kit. Very, very good bit of kit.
No, I'll have to have a look at it.
Because of all the metal detecting kit I've used, and I've used, a bit. I'm not very good at it, but I've used a lot of kit. I think it's probably my favourite bit of anything kit-wise, from machine down to socks that I've used.
So talking about socks, I've just got what they made from merino wool socks. Oh my God, that's revolutionizes cold feet. All the fancy
Adrian, write it down.
Merino.
No, I've got sealskin. Have you heard of sealskin?
Sealskins as well, but just for general warmth, I don't. Yeah, it's a new thing that I've just been introduced to. It's fantastic. But so just to go back to the because I had so many questions over the last year about the V80, and I've not really been able to answer it. My overall rounded up opinion of it, and I always do like the litmus test of would I spend my own money on it, 2 would I recommend it to a friend, and as much as it pains me because I love Quest stuff, the answer to both of them is going to be no, and I'm hoping that sort of answers the millions and millions of messages I've had about the V80. I don't think it's quite there yet.
But have you used the latest one rather than the?
In their defense, I haven't used the latest one, but just.
So what made you? Was it the what? aspect? Was it the display? Was it the ergonomics?
I'm not really a display person anyway, so that's not an issue because I'm sort of a tones person, and that's where the biggest issue was the tones. Mainly, we talked about. I don't think they quite understood what threshold was all about. So we talked about changing the threshold or removing it because it was terrible. The iron tone was so sort of choppy and staticky. So with a good machine, an Opto Minelab Deus, you can sort of read the land by what you're hearing with the iron. Now, this isn't for everyone because I know a lot of people don't want to hear the iron following in the background, but I do, especially on Roman sites, because you know when you're getting into somewhere good because you start to hear the iron chirping. The iron tones were awful. The tones all round were awful. And they did try, but it just wasn't for me. And so this is, again, it's a personal opinion. And along with lots of other things that just really, it's VDI and was all over the place. But that said, so is the Xterra. The ferrite indicator was just crazy. It just, as a package, it just wasn't there for me. And it was evolved, and I just thought in the end that enough's enough, and I'll leave you to it. But so for those that have asked me lots and lots over the last year, that's my answer is no, I wouldn't buy one. So
yeah.
So if someone was to ask you now, Tom, I've got lots of money, I want to buy a machine, what would you recommend? What would be your number one recommendation?
Oh,
you can say it now because you're not tied to any other companies.
Well, before I answer that, the good thing about when I was with Joe and Alan as well, right from the get-go, because I was doing all the blogs and things myself, and I said I need to be honest about what I'm saying and give them their due all the way through. For whatever backlash, they let me be honest about it, so that was good. If I had to pick, you have to turn this to Adrian as well in a minute. I would say, and I've got everything now, even above. If it was the only machine I had, even above the Manticore and like the Deus 2 or something like that, I think just for one I enjoy the most would be the Equinox 900. And I'm not saying that outperform the other ones. That's just for the one personally I enjoy the most because it does everything, but without all the faff and the chirpiness. And so, yeah, if I had to stick with one, that or the Legend, I don't know. Yeah, the 900.
I like that. He's turned that question round to which one I'd enjoy the most. And I agree because I prefer answering the question on which one I prefer using the most. Yeah. So for me, I'd say best value for money is the Nocta Legend at the moment. But for me, I love using the Rootless Versa. And there's been some bad press about it, but I'm not on social media heavily, and that's one of the reasons I'm not. Because if I have a metal detector, I go out, I don't listen to all these idiots saying about put it in super gold mode, change all the settings. Rootless Versa, Legend, and the Deus 2, and the Deus 1, but I'll say the Deus 2.
We only wanted one machine, not 8, Adrian.
If it was one, at the moment, I'd say Rootless Versa, predominantly because it's a small brand in Poland. Arik and his wife struggle, and they're helping out at the moment in a war. They've got a war next door, and I know personally that they're helping out with that. They're a very small company. They had the Root Assault 71, which helped me find a medieval gold ring, which sold at auction in London for £9,500 last year. And it's a cracking machine. And they aren't the best looking machines, but I really enjoy using that. But the Legend, my son uses the Legend, and he smashed me the other day against the Manticore. And we're in the same field. I know a lot of it's luck, but you can go and pick up a Quest Q30 tomorrow, and you'll enjoy yourself metal detecting.
On the back of everything you'd said about the Rootless, Adrian, James Barnes picked one up this week. I sent you a picture of it, and he's absolutely loving it.
Yeah, but they won't be the best detector out there because they're a little company in Poland who haven't got a marketing budget. They haven't got 500 YouTubers who say, thanks for sending me a detector. Oh, yeah, this is great. Oh, yeah, I've just found a gold noble. They're bought by people. The engineering behind Rootless machines is totally different to your big brands. So, what detector can you see the EMI on? You can physically see a graph with it on. It's a bit quirky, some of the things, But it's good, 700 quid. I enjoy it. Downside, you got to pay for the headphones, which are 120 quid, 115 quid. But yeah, I'm English. We like being the underdog. We like seeing the underdogs win, even though it's made in Poland. And C-Scope, I'd love them next year or this year to come out with a new machine, a totally new machine. And I'd love everyone in the UK to adopt it and buy it and swarm all over it, but maybe not. But not to keep bashing stuff out like there's no tomorrow, and it's all good stuff. So it's all good for us in the hobby because 10 years ago,
bashing it out though, don't you?
I love bashing it out. But 10 years ago, we were restricted to, 5 years ago even, certain brands that were reliable and good. Now we've got a handful, and it is complicated for people. It really is complicated. I'd just say
it
don't
definitely
spend too much.
doesn't help with like YouTubers, and I know I'm one of them, but I've been lucky enough that I can just be honest. I'm not taking backhanders from anyone saying anything, so it doesn't help with people saying this is the best thing ever because they're being paid to do that. But talking about looking forward to new machines coming out, I can't say much about it, but I'm just about to embark on a project with another one of the manufacturers who haven't done anything for a while with a new machine, so there could be something else relatively exciting coming out in the near future.
Tom Otech.
I don't know if you saw the video I did about the Dr. Otech pinpointer that some people loved and others got the backup. But I think at the end of it, I said you have more luck finding whatever it is you're looking for blindfolded wearing oven gloves or something like that. Yeah, some people weren't too chuffed about that. I think it was mainly the people who were selling the Dr. Otech pinpointers, but yeah.
Yeah, stick with the good brands. It's a bit like buying cereal, isn't it? You know, you know what you know, and you buy what you buy. You don't. As soon as you try out one that's different, it never really works out. Stick with Weetabix, cornflakes.
Dominic Tomczyk says he has a couple of YouTube guys with who use the Eurutis, and he's been showed how it works and what have you, and he's definitely thinking of buying one himself now.
And on the routers first, there is a certain man in America or people who have had issues with it. I won't go into detail because I don't know them personally, but all I'll say is in England, we have different soil. We don't have lumps of iron that big every 10 foot. We have iron infested ground. We don't rely on air tests, and we don't rely on a plank of wood with a big nail next to it and a dime. We actually go out and metal detect. And Tom is a prime example of a good field tester because when he does his videos, he's actually in a field detecting. And that's what it's all about in the hobby. It's not until you get out there and go in the field that's when you start finding stuff and understanding your machine.
It's not the same man that got a direct reply from Mark Corey from MineLab by any chance, is it?
I don't know, but James Barnes has just put something which might. But you just got to be so careful because the guy in America was slating the Versa. Why is he field testing one when you can't even buy them in America?
Yeah, he's. But you're right, and this is the thing with testing new machines. Depending on where they're going to be released, they have to be tested in those areas and those places around the world by people who are actually testing them and not just doing blooming air tests and test beds. You need to be out there looking for consistency and finding, even down to the actual physical faults with machines, because until you've used it for 6 months, you don't know which bit's going to fall off or where the problems are.
6 months, I agree, Tom. Totally agree. Not 6 hours.
I did a video, and that sort of to answer some other questions, because people were getting these Manticores and 900s and DS2s, and they were using them, these YouTubers, for two days, and then releasing their latest sort of super duper setting video that this will find everything. And I was just like, leave it. Everyone asked me what settings to use, and I'm like, pretty much factory settings with a few tweaks to the conditions, and that is it. And the issue with a lot of things is people putting these YouTube settings in and then not being able to find anything with it. There's a guy actually, I mentioned in the video, he messaged me and he goes, oh, you said the 900 was good. I said, it's great. He said, I'm having all these problems. So he did a little video of him going through his settings, and I don't know whose settings he'd followed from YouTube. He said, "What do I do?" I said, "Factory reset it," and he did. And I gave him a couple of little tweaks, and he was off, and he was happy. And I think that puts a lot of people off machines who go in there with these super duper settings and mess it all up. The engineers, funnily enough, know what they're doing when they put the presets into the machines.
Yeah, I think they wouldn't still be working for the big companies if they sent out a general program which didn't work, would they? Yeah. Pomsey, hi mate, hope you're doing well. He's still on factory settings almost 1 year in with his Manticore.
I was supposed to be trialing TC's Versa up at the rally that you came up to. Oh no, you came up to the first rally up at the Ministry of Tech. The second one that was on, he was supposed to be. Well, he brought it up, but then went home because it started raining because he's made of sugar. Stephen A. Wilson asks, "What is the best? I presume. Can I ask, please? Legend Deus 1 or Knox 900?
Ooh.
Where'd you detect, Beach?
Yeah.
Up north, down south? How old are you? Have you got a back problem? The Deus is 14 years old this year, Deus 1. Legend's 2 years old. Knox is, a year old?
Dominic Tomczyk says that Verse have got a new update. And Tony is right. It wasn't just rain, it was biblical. Eagle Eye DJI says Deus 1 with the HF coil.
Yeah.
He boats down south many fields.
Epic combination. Deus 1 with that HF coil was my go-to for a long, long time.
Yeah, it smashes stuff. Yeah, and that's my detecting buddy who's put that, and that's because in the last 6 months I've been out with a multitude of machines, and consistency, he does know the machine, to be fair. He has done really, really well. He pulled up 6 Romans behind me. I won't say what machine I was using, but it was more than twice the price of an old Deus 1. It's Deus. Still got it in it.
Well, listen, we could chat all night, but it's 25 to 10. And all those good people want to go to bed, and Adrian stays up till silly o'clock doing peculiar things. A quick jump onto the solo layout. Don't forget to scan that QR code to get to the Hidden History Hunters Detecting Scotland YouTube channel. That's also the same name on Facebook,
Instagram, all the other things.
And your blog is at the same again, the blog.
It'll all come back to it. Hidden History Hunters will bring you back to everything.
Brilliant. Because the blog is well worth looking at. As I said, the treasure trove article that he kindly gave us to republish in ArcMD Mag. And I take it that would totally need rewriting or updating now, will it, Tom, that article?
It's not that, even though it's an older article now. It has slightly improved up here, but it's not far off the mark, to be honest. I think we're experiencing the same sort of problems that you guys are with the PAS. I think it's down to the popularity of the hobby now. There's just so many people doing it, puts a strain on it all as well, which doesn't help. But that's for a different topic. So we could go on about that whole night.
That's a good topic to show, actually.
He was just asked that. Derek Sherwin, the new Legend update. Any idea when that's out? Anybody?
Oh,
the what?
New Legend update.
Yeah, so the Beast mode, or as I told Dilek to call it, the Depth mode or something, because Beast sounds a bit Quest coil turbo kind of thing.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, I reckon V5.
I reckon as soon as another manufacturer brings out a new machine or an update, Noctua will be out there smashing it. Just quickly, Nick Berry, sorry, we did get on our voicemail system. I did get your message. I haven't sent it to Dave. I won't explain how funny it is, but Dave, I'll send it to you. If you want to leave us a message, bigdetectingshow.com. You can leave us a voice message. Don't have to put your email address.
Along with Nick, along with Rob Random, along with Donna, and Chris Langston's Barra Brith recipe.
Yes. So yes, but thank you ever so much tonight, Tom. Really, really good having you on.
Yes, really enjoyed it, Tom. Thank you. It's gone ever so quick. Don't forget, look on the Big Detecting Show. Join us on the Facebook group. Send over your finds. You know, we love looking at stuff like that. If you want to come on the show, please contact me by any means necessary. I'm going to start booking people on for the coming weeks, over the next week anyway. Tom, pleasure as ever. And we'll speak to you soon, no doubt.
Yeah, I'm sure. Nice.
Adrian, love you lots like jelly tots. I'd say that to all the viewers, but it'd be kind of weird.
Do it anyway.
But thanks anyway. Love you lots like jelly tots. And we will see you all next week at 8 p.m. on the Big Detecting Show. Good night, everyone.
Bye. See you, Tom.
Cheers, guys.